Recent research shows that millions of men over 60 are unknowingly making daily mistakes that quietly enlarge their prostate. These small habits don't cause pain right away, but they slowly build up, leading to frustrating symptoms like frequent urination, weak flow, constant bathroom trips at night, and even serious health complications. In this video, I'm going to reveal the 10 common habits that silently damage your prostate. We'll talk about what you're eating and drinking, how you sleep, how much you move, and even small daily choices you may never have connected to your prostate health. Some of these will surprise you, and make sure you watch until the very end, because habit number 1 is the most shocking and one of the most important reasons I see in my practice. As we go through each habit, I want you to think carefully about which ones you may be doing without even realizing it. And let me know in the comments where you're watching from. Just drop your city below. I always enjoy seeing where everyone is tuning in from. Now let's get started and help you protect your prostate before these habits cause lasting damage. Habit number 10, lack of regular prostate screenings. Recent studies reveal something deeply concerning. Nearly half of men over 60 are skipping regular prostate screenings. And the consequences, they can be life-altering. You see, prostate enlargement, or BPH, doesn't always come with flashing warning lights. It creeps up quietly. At first, it's just a little more frequent urination at night. Then, you start noticing a weak stream or that feeling of never fully emptying your bladder. Many men chalk it up to just getting older, but that assumption is dangerous. As a prostate doctor, I've seen too many patients who waited too long. They tell me, "I thought it was normal for my age." What starts as mild symptoms can silently progress into severe enlargement, bladder damage, or even kidney complications. The sad part, much of this could have been prevented with simple routine screenings. A PSA blood test and a quick physical exam can catch prostate issues early, often before symptoms even begin. Early detection gives us options, non-invasive treatments, medications, lifestyle adjustments that can slow or even halt progression. But once significant enlargement sets in, options become limited. Procedures get more complicated, risks increase, and quality of life suffers. I understand that many men avoid these screenings out of fear or embarrassment. No one likes the idea of exams or blood work. But let me be honest with you, a few minutes of mild discomfort is far better than years of struggling with urinary problems or facing surgery that could have been avoided altogether. The men who take charge early often enjoy healthier, more independent lives well into their 70s and 80s. They sleep through the night. They travel without worrying about where the next bathroom is. They stay active and confident, not trapped by prostate symptoms that quietly took control. If you haven't had a screening in the past year or two, it's time. Don't wait for the symptoms to get worse, because when it comes to your prostate, the earlier we act, the better your outcome. Habit number 9. Chronic stress and poor sleep. Recent studies have uncovered a silent link that many overlook. Chronic stress and poor sleep are directly tied to prostate enlargement. This isn't just about feeling tired or overwhelmed. What's happening inside your body is far more serious. When you're under constant stress, your adrenal glands pump out high levels of cortisol, your body's primary stress hormone. Elevated cortisol disrupts your entire hormonal balance, including testosterone and estrogen levels, both of which play critical roles in prostate health. I've seen men who worked hard their entire lives, juggling family, finances, and responsibilities, only to carry that stress into retirement. They think that once the job ends, the stress fades. But for many, it lingers, in their minds, in their bodies, and eventually in their prostate. The body stays in a state of chronic tension, and over time that fuels inflammation. This low-grade, persistent inflammation is one of the driving forces behind the gradual swelling of the prostate gland. And then there's sleep. Poor sleep quality compounds the problem. When you don't get deep restorative sleep, your body misses its window to repair and balance itself. Hormone production suffers, growth hormone drops, melatonin, which also has antioxidant properties, stays low. The result? Inflammation rises, immunity weakens, and the prostate quietly grows larger. Many of my patients describe a vicious cycle. They wake up multiple times at night to urinate, which fragments their sleep. The poor sleep then worsens their prostate symptoms, leading to more nighttime trips to the bathroom. Round and round it goes, wearing them down both physically and mentally. Breaking this cycle is crucial. Stress management isn't just about relaxation, it's a medical necessity for your prostate health. Simple practices like breathing exercises, light physical activity, mindfulness, and consistent bedtime routines can lower cortisol and support hormone balance. Quality sleep allows your body to heal, regulate inflammation, and protect your prostate from unnecessary enlargement. Ignoring stress and poor sleep allows silent damage to accumulate, but addressing them gives your prostate a fighting chance to stay healthy, even as you age. Habit number 8. High caffeine intake. Most men don't realize their morning coffee could be quietly contributing to prostate problems. Caffeine, while offering a quick burst of energy, can irritate the bladder and prostate in ways that often go unnoticed until the symptoms worsen. As a prostate doctor, I've seen countless patients who start the day with 1 cup, but over the years that 1 cup turns into 3, 4, or more. They rely on it for energy, but unknowingly feed a cycle that aggravates their prostate. Caffeine is a known diuretic. It increases urine production and stimulates the bladder, forcing it to contract more frequently. For a healthy young man, this might not cause much concern. But for men over 60, where prostate enlargement may already be developing, this extra stimulation can become a real problem. The bladder struggles to fully empty, leading to more frequent trips to the bathroom, especially at night. Interrupted sleep, exhaustion, and frustration follow. Worse, caffeine can irritate the smooth muscles of the prostate itself, making symptoms like urgency, weak stream, and incomplete emptying even more pronounced. Many of my patients come in worried about these symptoms, believing it's just aging. But when we reduce their caffeine intake, the improvement is often dramatic. And it's not just coffee. Many men don't realize that tea, energy drinks, sodas, chocolate, and even some over-the-counter medications contain significant amounts of caffeine. The total daily intake adds up quickly, quietly stressing the bladder and prostate every single day. One patient stands out in my mind. He was waking up 5 times a night, exhausted, frustrated, and convinced surgery was his only option. We reviewed his diet, and I discovered he was consuming nearly 600 milligrams of caffeine daily. Once we gradually cut it back, his nighttime trips dropped from 5 to 1, and his quality of life improved almost overnight. For men over 60, reducing caffeine isn't about giving up coffee forever. It's about moderation. 1 small cup in the morning, balanced with proper hydration and stress management, can often make a major difference. The goal is to minimize irritation, support your bladder, and protect your prostate from unnecessary strain. Habit number 7, ignoring early urinary symptoms. It always starts small. A little hesitation before the urine stream begins, a few extra trips to the bathroom at night, a sense that your bladder isn't fully empty. Most men brush it off thinking, that's just part of getting older. But this quiet dismissal is one of the most dangerous habits when it comes to prostate health. As a prostate doctor, I can tell you that these minor annoyances are often the first signs of prostate enlargement. When addressed early, they're manageable, but when ignored, they quietly progress, and the window for simple treatment options begins to close. The prostate doesn't suddenly enlarge overnight. It grows slowly over years, pressing against the urethra, gradually making urination more difficult. I've had patients wait years before seeking help. By the time they come in, they're dealing with severe blockage, bladder damage, even kidney strain. And the truth is, much of that damage could have been prevented if they had acted when the symptoms first appeared. Many men avoid seeking help because they fear the diagnosis or the possible treatments. Some feel embarrassed to talk about urinary issues. Others convince themselves that waking up several times a night is normal at their age. But the earlier we intervene, the less invasive the treatments often are. Simple lifestyle changes, medications, or even dietary adjustments can slow or stop the progression. One patient I recall ignored his symptoms for nearly a decade. By the time he came to me, he was catheter dependent and facing surgery that could have been avoided years earlier. His regret was not about the condition itself, it was about waiting too long to act. Your body speaks to you through these early symptoms. Frequent urination, weak stream, dribbling, difficulty starting. These aren't just signs of aging, they're red flags that your prostate may already be enlarging. Addressing them early preserves your freedom, your comfort, and your quality of life. Don't wait for the symptoms to control you. Take control before they escalate. Habit number 6, dehydration and low fluid intake. Many men think drinking less water will help them avoid frequent bathroom trips. But the reality is, this habit often makes prostate symptoms far worse. I see it all the time. Patients reduce their fluid intake, hoping to stay dry through the night, but end up feeding a dangerous cycle that quietly damages the bladder and stresses the prostate. When you don't drink enough water, your urine becomes more concentrated. That concentrated urine is filled with minerals, salts, and waste products that irritate the lining of the bladder and the tissues surrounding the prostate. Over time, this irritation can contribute to inflammation, increasing the sensation of urgency, frequency, and incomplete emptying. The bladder itself also suffers. Without adequate hydration, the bladder loses flexibility. Its muscles weaken, making it harder to fully empty. This adds even more strain on the urinary system, and the enlarged prostate only amplifies the problem. What starts as an attempt to control symptoms leads to worsening urgency, more frequent urination, and disrupted sleep. I once treated a man who prided himself on drinking almost no water after 4 p.m. to avoid nighttime trips, but his concentrated urine irritated his bladder so severely that he was waking up 6 times a night. Once we adjusted his hydration, more fluids earlier in the day, less right before bed, his symptoms dramatically improved. He was sleeping through the night again, something he hadn't done in years. Proper hydration keeps urine diluted, so it's less irritating to both the bladder and prostate. It also helps flush the urinary tract, reducing the risk of infections, stones, and further inflammation. For most men, about 6 to 8 glasses of water spread throughout the day is ideal, while tapering off in the evening to minimize nighttime trips. Avoiding water may seem like a solution, but it's actually inviting more trouble. Staying properly hydrated supports your entire urinary system and helps your prostate function with less stress. Small adjustments today can prevent years of discomfort down the road. Habit number 5, heavy alcohol consumption. Recent studies have exposed a hidden danger that many men overlook. Heavy alcohol consumption is quietly linked to prostate enlargement. It's not just about the liver or the heart. Alcohol directly impacts the delicate hormonal balance that keeps your prostate healthy. As a prostate doctor, I've seen this pattern again and again. Men who enjoy several drinks a day, thinking it's harmless relaxation, are often unknowingly feeding the growth of their prostate. Alcohol interferes with testosterone production, lowering levels over time while simultaneously increasing estrogen levels. This shift in hormones can stimulate the prostate to grow larger. At the same time, alcohol promotes inflammation throughout the body, including the prostate gland itself, accelerating enlargement and worsening urinary symptoms. I've had patients come to me frustrated and confused. They're waking up multiple times at night, struggling with weak urine flow, frequent urgency, and constant interruptions to their daily lives. When we take a close look at their habits, the common denominator is often alcohol, sometimes just a few drinks each evening, which they believed were harmless. One man I treated enjoyed his nightly cocktails for years. He never imagined they were contributing to his worsening prostate symptoms. But after cutting back significantly, within weeks, his nighttime trips to the bathroom dropped, his stream improved, and his sense of control returned. It wasn't about complete abstinence, it was about moderation. Alcohol also acts as a diuretic, increasing urine production, which puts added pressure on an already struggling bladder. Combine that with a growing prostate, and the results are predictable: more frequent urination, incomplete emptying, and disrupted sleep. Over time, these issues can escalate into more serious complications requiring invasive treatments. For men over 60, managing alcohol intake isn't about giving up every drink forever. It's about understanding how even moderate daily drinking can quietly harm your prostate. Reducing alcohol consumption is one of the simplest yet most effective steps you can take to protect your urinary health and maintain your independence for years to come. Habit number 4, ignoring low-grade inflammation. Most men think inflammation is something you can feel, swelling, pain, redness, But there's a far more dangerous form, low-grade inflammation, that works silently for years, slowly damaging your prostate without you ever knowing. This quiet, chronic inflammation is one of the leading contributors to prostate enlargement, and far too many men ignore it until it's too late. As a prostate doctor, I've seen men walk into my office with significant prostate growth, but no major warning signs until their symptoms became impossible to ignore. Their bodies had been fighting this hidden inflammation for years. The problem is, low-grade inflammation doesn't cause sharp pain or dramatic symptoms early on. It quietly triggers a slow buildup of tissue changes, swelling the prostate little by little. What causes it? Often it's a combination of diet, excess weight, metabolic issues, lack of exercise, and chronic stress. High sugar diets, processed foods, and unhealthy fats fuel inflammatory processes deep within the body. Over time, this continuous low-level irritation affects many organs, but the prostate is especially vulnerable. I remember one patient who was active, but his diet was loaded with processed meats, sugary snacks, and fried foods. He felt fine for years, but gradually his urinary symptoms crept in: weak stream, frequent urination, urgency. Blood tests revealed elevated inflammatory markers, and imaging confirmed significant prostate enlargement. By simply targeting inflammation through diet changes, weight loss, and anti-inflammatory foods, we were able to slow the progression and ease his symptoms. The danger lies in assuming you're fine just because you don't feel sick. Inflammation doesn't announce itself loudly until the damage is already done. But the good news is, you can control it. Reducing sugar, eating more vegetables, staying active, managing weight, and addressing stress can all lower inflammation and protect your prostate from unnecessary enlargement. Ignoring this silent threat allows it to chip away at your health year after year, but facing it head-on gives your prostate the support it needs to stay healthy well into your later years. Habit number 3, overconsumption of red meat and processed meats. Research is becoming increasingly clear. Too much red meat and processed meats can quietly fuel prostate enlargement. This isn't about one steak here or there. It's the daily, long-term habit that builds up silently over years, affecting hormones and triggering chronic inflammation that directly impacts your prostate. As a prostate doctor, I've seen countless men who pride themselves on a diet heavy in steaks, burgers, bacon, and sausages. Many grew up believing that a meat-centered plate was a sign of strength and health, but what we once thought was harmless can, over time, contribute to one of the most frustrating health challenges men face after 60. Red meats are high in saturated fats, which can disrupt the delicate balance of hormones that regulate prostate growth. An excess of these fats may raise levels of certain growth factors that stimulate the prostate to enlarge. On top of that, many processed meats are loaded with preservatives, nitrates, and chemicals that trigger inflammation. And as I've explained to many patients, chronic low-grade inflammation creates an environment where the prostate slowly swells, making urination more difficult year after year. I recall one patient who struggled with frequent nighttime urination, urgency, and weak stream. His diet was simple: bacon for breakfast, deli sandwiches for lunch, and grilled steak for dinner. He didn't realize how much these foods were quietly fueling his prostate issues. Once we made small but consistent adjustments, introducing more vegetables, plant proteins, and reducing his red meat intake, his symptoms improved significantly within months. This doesn't mean eliminating red meat entirely. The danger lies in overconsumption. A few servings a week, balanced with anti-inflammatory foods like leafy greens, berries, nuts, and fish, can help protect the prostate while still allowing for enjoyment. The key is moderation and awareness. Over time, even small daily choices can either protect your prostate or quietly work against it. The earlier you make these changes, the better your chances of avoiding severe prostate enlargement down the road. Habit number 2, high dairy consumption. Most men have been told for years that dairy is essential for strong bones and overall health. But what many don't realize is that high dairy consumption may quietly fuel prostate enlargement as they age. It's one of the most overlooked dietary factors I see in my practice, especially among men over 60 who followed the same eating habits for decades. Dairy products like milk, cheese, yogurt, and butter are rich in hormones and growth factors that can influence the prostate. One of the key concerns is a compound called IGF-1, or insulin-like growth factor. Studies have shown that higher levels of IGF-1 may stimulate prostate tissue to grow. Over time, regular intake of large amounts of dairy can gradually contribute to an enlarged prostate, leading to urinary symptoms that disrupt daily life and sleep. I remember one patient who couldn't understand why his symptoms were getting worse. He had no family history of prostate problems, exercised regularly, and kept his weight in check. But when we looked at his diet, the pattern was clear. Multiple glasses of milk each day, cheese with almost every meal, and daily servings of yogurt. He believed he was making healthy choices, but his prostate was responding to the steady intake of growth-stimulating compounds. Once we reduced his dairy intake and introduced more plant-based sources of calcium and protein, his symptoms began to improve. The urgency lessened, the nighttime trips to the bathroom decreased, and his overall comfort returned. He didn't have to eliminate dairy completely. Small adjustments made all the difference. The issue with dairy isn't that it's inherently bad, it's the excessive, long-term consumption that slowly feeds the problem. As men age, their bodies become more sensitive to the hormonal effects of food. Moderating dairy intake, while increasing anti-inflammatory foods like leafy greens, nuts, seeds, and fatty fish, can support both prostate and overall health. Ignoring this connection allows the slow, silent growth of the prostate to continue year after year. But taking control of your diet now can help preserve your independence, your comfort, and your quality of life for years to come. Habit number 1, chronic sitting and sedentary lifestyle, the silent killer. You may not feel it, but every extra hour spent sitting is quietly putting your prostate at risk. Recent research has made it clear, a sedentary lifestyle is one of the most dangerous, yet most common habits contributing to prostate enlargement, especially in men over 60. What makes this habit so dangerous is how easily it sneaks into daily life without much thought. Retirement, long hours in front of the television, reading, or sitting at the computer. Over time, these long periods of inactivity slowly take a toll on your prostate. When you sit for extended periods, blood flow to the pelvic area decreases. This reduced circulation means your prostate isn't receiving the oxygen and nutrients it needs to stay healthy. On top of that, poor blood flow allows waste products and inflammatory markers to build up around the gland. Chronic inflammation becomes the perfect environment for gradual prostate enlargement. In my practice, I've seen this scenario play out many times. One patient spent most of his days sitting, watching TV for hours, reading, napping in his recliner. He assumed he was simply taking it easy after years of hard work, but as his activity level dropped, his prostate symptoms increased. Frequent urination, weak stream, and constant pressure. By the time he sought help, his prostate had grown significantly. The solution didn't require extreme exercise. Simple, consistent movement made all the difference. We introduced short walks, light stretching, and standing breaks throughout his day. Within a few months, his urinary symptoms stabilized, his sleep improved, and his energy returned. Staying active isn't about running marathons. It's about keeping the blood flowing, the muscles engaged, and the inflammation under control. Even small changes, standing up every 30 minutes, daily short walks, light exercises, can protect your prostate and dramatically reduce your risk of enlargement as you age. Ignoring movement is one of the most silent yet preventable risks for prostate health, but choosing to move, even a little each day, can make all the difference between struggling with symptoms and enjoying your golden years with comfort and independence. Now you know the 10 habits that may be slowly enlarging your prostate without you even noticing. The good news is you can take control. Small changes in your daily routine can make a big difference in how you feel and how your prostate functions as you age. If any of these habits sounded familiar, it's never too late to start making adjustments. Protecting your prostate is about staying informed and taking simple steps each day. If you found this video helpful, please take a moment to like this video and subscribe to support the Glowing Age channel. Your support helps me continue sharing important information for healthy, independent living after 60.